Good evening. Where's the heat wave gone? It was so warm yesterday and previously, and here we are now. I'm fishing in a fleece. That tells you that it's a little bit chillier than it was over the last few days. However, the angling show continues. What's the venue, species and bait for today? The Staffordshire-Worcestershire Canal, perch and prawn. Am I confident? I'm always confident. Even if I don't catch, I'm still confident. Never arrogant. That's the big factor there, isn't it? But always confident. I've been here about 20 minutes. The float sails away. It is my target species. It's not very big, but at least I'm not a blanker. Always nice to get the first fish on the bank, isn't it? Let's cast out again. Oh, there's a little bit of grass there. Looks like the Canal and River Trust have been along today doing their trimming of the towpaths. That's better. I'm fishing over brown crumb with prawns in there as well. The mix is quite consistent in the sense that I can throw it out as a ball, but when it does hit the surface of the water, it will break up like so. And I've also got some of Chris Jones's red maggots as well, putting those out in addition. I don't mind the small roach, even the small perch coming in, because in my book, a crowd always attracts a crowd. I've been working on a couple of gardens this week, which I've enjoyed very much indeed. And I've also turned down 2 gardening jobs. So I think my green fingered skills are certainly catching people's attention, aren't they? Well, it's nice to know, isn't it? And as I've said on so many occasions, you never know who's watching on. You never know who's observing. If you have a social media platform, you never know who's watching, do you? If you make YouTube videos, you never know who's looking on there either. That's why it's important to promote yourself in a positive way. Yes, you can have opinions and views, and as long as they're expressed in a reasonable way, I have no problem with people who have different views to what I have, but it's all about how you promote them, isn't it? That's the important thing. Let's drink some more tea. Let's watch that float, and hopefully let's be back with another perch, this time a bigger one. I've just had a hook pull on a fish. Let me show you my setup before I cast out again. That's all that's left of the prawn on this occasion. Notice the anchor shot. Always something I go for on the canal, especially so this evening. Not that it's the boat traffic that I'm contending with or the lock movement, but rather the breeze. It's quite chilly, it's quite windy. It's not too warm either, but it's quite windy, so naturally it does drift the float along, but the anchor shot takes it to the bottom, keeps it there, and then because I'm only a few inches over depth, I'm not that far away from where the bait is in terms of bite detection. 1.2 gram waggler, shot either side, another shot about a foot down, and then 5-6 feet of water. I've got the prawn on the size 8 hook, and I'm about to put another one on now. Very, very simple to hook. Well, they are if you can find the hook. Very, very simple to hook. I use, well, I'm going to do that myself in a moment, but this is what I go for. Cheap and cheerful Morrison's Savers cold water prawns. Right, let's trace this line to the hook. I'll get the prawn on, and then I'll be able to cast out. After I've got the hook out of my... No, it's not in my trousers, it's in the grass. I sound very much as if I don't know what I'm doing, don't I? And actually, could have a point there. Right, very, very simple. Size 8, as I've said, that's plenty. That's in balance, isn't it? The hook and the bait. Always make sure, as always, that the hook point is exposed. Talking about expressing yourself just now on the internet or in the public domain, I can't help but feel sorry for Rachel Reeves, who today had tears, shed tears in the House of Commons. And I must say, I've never voted Labour in my life. And I've lived under the premierships of Harold Wilson, Jim Callaghan, Tony Blair, watching the float while I talk, Gordon Brown, and now Sir Keir Starmer. And I think this government is by far the worst of any that I've lived under. And we're only 1 year into their rule and reign. So I'm not a fan of Rachel Reeves at all. But she's still a person. She still has feelings, she has a family, she has children, grandchildren, etc. I don't know if she does have those, but I'm just saying in the context of when we attack people, we should remember that we're talking about fellow human beings. And I think this is one of the downsides of social media, isn't it? Where people can become nasty or nastier when they're in front of a screen, on a phone, with a keyboard at their disposal. And things you would never dream of saying to people in real life. But then suddenly you feel that on the internet, it's okay to blast away. For me, as I've said, that's my position. I'm not a fan of this government at all. I'm not a fan of Rachel Reeves, but I feel sorry for her because obviously stuff's going on. Now it says at the moment that, hang on, someone's coming, I'll be back. Couple of joggers passing through there, they've gone. Back to the Rachel Reeves thing though, it seems that she might have had a disagreement with Keir Starmer or Lindsay Hoyle. We're not sure at this moment in time. It'll come out, won't it, over the next day or so. But to wrap up what I was saying, people have feelings and we need to bear that in mind, don't we? That's very, very important. So, never voted for the government, this government, the Labour government. I've never voted Labour in my life. I'm not a fan of Rachel Reeves at all, but I do feel for her. Am I right or am I wrong? I've got a pheasant behind me, a song thrush in front of me, and I've just hooked into another fish. It is a perch, as you would expect, although you certainly catch other species on prawn, don't you? Let's get the hook out and I'll be back. I was thinking about my comments on Rachel Reeves just now. I could imagine people posting in reply to that. What about the farmers and the inheritance tax? What about the pensioners and the winter fuel payments? What about the kids who've been dragged out of school because the parents can no longer send them to private school? And yes, I get that 100%. Couldn't disagree with any of those sentiments at all. Just that I still feel sorry for people when they're obviously in a state whereby they break down for whatever reason it might be and for whatever they've done, I guess. But where do you draw the line? Do you feel sorry for people that have committed heinous crimes? They end up in court, sentenced to life in prison, and they break down in tears. Do you feel sorry for them? So, yeah, I do understand that there is a line that has to be drawn in the sand. A very clear line as well, isn't it? I guess we would all understand that and get that, but perhaps for some of us the line would be further along than it might be for others, that's all. Float's going again, oh, on that occasion. Nothing there on the strike, including the prawn which has been taken. I'm in the final hour of the 3-hour session, the one that you would expect to be the most productive. I've just had a second hook pull. Oh, it's a bream. Maybe I had those hook pulls because, well, they do have much smaller mouths, don't they, than perch. So that was probably why. They are shoal creatures. If you get one, there's always a chance there's going to be another not too far behind. Let's do the unhooking and let's come back with the fish. Actually, the hook did pull on this one. However, it was in the net and not while the fish itself was in the water. Just a small one. Doing a little bit of juggling there. Just a small fish, but very welcome indeed, as they all are. I definitely got fish out there interested in the prawn. Could it be the bream, or maybe perch, or possibly both? Even a roach. I'll have a little pick at a prawn as well. Plus I do catch them even with a size 8 hook. That floats bobbing around and doesn't develop. That tells me that it's more likely to be bream and roach rather than perch. Is this one going to do a developing act though? Not sure it is. I will lift out the water in a moment or two though, just to make sure the prawn's there. It hasn't been whittled away. But looking good for the final 30 minutes. I don't know about whittled away, it had been snaffled. A new one on there. Always good to check when you get those bites that don't really develop as perch would if they took the bait, because you think to yourself there's something out there picking at it and eventually they'll erode it. So back out, and immediately I'm getting another bob on the float and he disappears and I'm into a fish. What's this? It's a bream. Very slimy indeed. When my wife gets in the car tomorrow, she'll say, "Were you catching bream yesterday or tench?" More dips and bobs and another prawn gone. The bream are out there in numbers. Although the phone does pick up the light and it appears it's earlier than normal, it is well into late dusk now. So the final few minutes of the session, I'm still watching that float. Always live in hope, don't you? Considering I've been fishing with prawn, which is a very focused approach, I'm certainly happy with this evening's short session. No tears from me, that's a fact.